The Chuck Huckleberry Loop in Tucson, Arizona is one of the longest trail networks in the country, and I'm excited to share with you a portion of it. It's the Greenway with Mac, and this video continues from where we left off in the downtown Tucson video. If you have not watched that one, then check it out to see how Derek and I arrived here from the new protected bike lanes on North Stone Avenue. We are headed south on the Loop Trail for about 2.5 miles, where we will connect with the Julian Wash Greenway. At the end, I'll show you an alternative option that we didn't have time to cover while I was in town. The Chuck Huckleberry Loop is currently about 138 miles of off-street trails that surround the Tucson metro area, and many more miles are planned. Many of these trail miles extend to the north as extensions of the loop shape. If you want to complete a full loop, which is called looping the loop, then you can do it in about 54 miles. The Huckleberry Loop is the name of the larger network, but it is composed of shorter Greenway sections. Looping the Loop connects several of these, including the Julian Wash and Harrison Road Greenways, and the former I have covered in a follow-up video. Other sections include the Rillito River and Pantano River parks. In this section of trail, we are riding along the banks of the Santa Cruz River. The trail on this side of the river is just labeled as the Loop on Google, while the opposite side is labeled as the Diamond Street Loop. If you're looking for a deep dive on the Loop, there are a lot of resources online, but I also used a guidebook by Randolph Ford, which had a ton of maps and information about every piece of the network. I'll include a link in the description if you want to order a copy. The A on the mountain comes from the University of Arizona and dates back to 1915. The peak is nearly 2,900 feet in elevation and is believed to be the original settling location of Tucson's first inhabitants several thousand years ago. There is evidence of crops growing near the base of the mountain, which is made of igneous rock. There is a road to the top of the mountain, so you can walk, bike, or drive, which is a popular place for sunsets. Wildcats at the U of A kick off their homecoming festivities with a ceremonial lighting of the A. The bridge where we started this ride is Cushing Street, and the streetcar's final stop is just on the other side of it. Nearby are two areas that are good places that have a variety of food establishments, including bakery and coffee shops. Those two spaces are called Mercado San Agustin, which is near Congress Street, and MSA Annex, which is near Cushing. There are also a few hotels in this area, so visitors who want to ride the trail may want to look in this area in order to have easy access to it. The Pima County Parklands Foundation provides funds to maintain and enhance the loop and some of the adjacent parks. Look them up online or use my link in the description if you would like to be a supporter of their work. As we reach the end of the video, I'd like to tell you about your options from here. We continued straight on the trail, which becomes the Julian Wash Greenway. This trail goes through neighborhoods, but is pretty safe and enjoyable to ride as long as you're okay crossing some bigger roads. Another option is to turn right at the bridge and continue going south. That path becomes the Santa Cruz River Bikeway. The opposite side continues to have a trail, and that section is called Paseo de los Árboles. Both trails lead you to the Sunnyside and Midvale neighborhoods, where the trails end at West Drexel Road and West Valencia Road. If you like these Greenway overviews, then be sure to subscribe to see the newest ones. Thanks for coming along. I will see you on the next Greenway.